Hey everybody, Nikki here. Today we're going to do something a little different. Mostly you see me post a lot of powerful, flowy classes, but one of my favorite things to do is a nice deep stretch. Time to just hang out in silence and stillness. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a yin class. If you have music you want to throw on, something kind of not too energetic, and you feel like you want a soundtrack to your practice, that's absolutely fine. Silence is a powerful thing as well. So if you don't have music handy, or if you're just not feeling it, trust that as well and just let the silence unfold. For this practice, ideally you have something soft to lay on. A mat is great. Blankets are fine as well, as long as you're not going to slide around. And you should be good as long as you also have a wall with some space on either side of your mat, because we are going to take up some space once we're there. So yeah, let's get started. So you're going to come to the wall. This first pose is called legs up the wall, and you actually want to get close enough to the wall so it's almost like if this were the floor, you'd be sitting on it. So when you get to the wall, my butt and the top of my thighs are pressing perfectly against it. Feet can be anywhere from hip width, little wider, little closer, but you want to be able to relax the feet. The whole weight of the legs is going to fall down into the hips and pelvis here. Right? There's a little softness in my knees. Hands can land on the abdomen. You can take them out to the side. Sometimes with this one, I take them up and overhead just to start to work into the shoulders. Right? You can let the head fall side to side a few times if you'd like, a chance to kind of relax fully through the head, neck, and shoulders. All right, you can move the breath fully here for a few breaths, but essentially you want to let the breath become part of the surrender as well. So the breath softens. You can let the body just sip air how it wants to here. All right, muscles in the face, jaw, forehead, and around the eyes, they all relax. So let gravity pull the expression off of your face here. Right, and the experience of yin is allowed to be more than one thing. Right? We definitely do want to surrender. That's where we're going to get the benefit out of the poses. But, if the mind is struggling to be quiet this evening, or whenever you are doing this practice, be willing to let that unfold. And maybe a little bit of compassion. Right? As long as the body is getting what it needs, and maybe you let the mind wander and chase thoughts. Right? Or it might serve you in your practice to actually work to find some stillness in the mind. It can be as simple as drawing awareness to the breath. And when you catch yourself sort of having wandered off on a thought, you follow the way, or you follow the breath back and into the moment. And it can be as simple as finding a single point of focus, right? An object, thought, like one single thing to keep the mind, busy, but with some kind of focus and stillness within it. Right, so I encourage you to find what works for you and know that it might change as your practice unfolds. Right, anywhere we do land, if it's uncomfortable is an absolutely normal thing to feel, but pain is not. So please be willing to modify any of these poses to make sense in your body in a safe and thoughtful way. So I'll just take a couple more minutes here. And notice if the body's picked up any tension, right? Unconscious habits or patterns of holding on. Right? Where can you soften and surrender more fully into this shape, body, breath, and mind? Last half a minute here. Breath can stay as it is, or maybe just to let the body know you're getting ready to move, you deepen the breath. Right? You can expand the heart, ribs, and even the navel presses towards the sky as you fill up. And as you empty, you contract the abdomen and the ribs, and then the space of the chest. Another breath or two here before we move. Yeah, if the arms are overhead, maybe shifting the arms to a more comfortable place, right? Making sure the shoulders feel okay in the back body here. And now we'll shift the legs wide, so still close to the wall. Heels are going to drop open. So you essentially want to let gravity do almost all of this work. If this is too much in this pose, you can use something to support under the upper thighs, right? Yoga blocks, some of you might have those where you are. And now we're looking for the stretch to increase, so inner groin, hips, and a little bit through the back of the legs up towards the inner knees should feel like it's stretching here. You know, feet and ankles are relaxed. Again, you can shift the head side to side a couple times, softly, mindfully, to relax the neck. And then again, find somewhere for the arms that makes sense. You might notice now it's a little different than that first time. Check in with where you're holding tension. Scalp, forehead, cheeks, and jaw. All those little muscles around the eyes and in the neck and throat, relax. You know, if your work in this moment is to stay present, right? Try focusing on either the breath or the physical experience unfolding here. And if something else is happening, right, just trust that it might be what you need, right? And allow yourself to be. Generally in yin poses, we want to find a place, land, and commit. So we never want to go to our absolute deepest place because then it's hard to hold, right? For the 2, 3, 4 minutes that we remain. So knowing that we'll be here for another minute or two, make sure this is your shape, right? If something needs to change, be willing. And then soften into this moment again. Body and breath, maybe the mind as well. Last chance to soften, surrender, and relent into this shape. Another half a minute or so, you can remain as you are. Maybe a chance to find breath a little more active, right? Sending this message to the body, you're getting ready to move. Right, notice too if knowing we're almost done has you wanting to kind of hurry the breath or even build this sort of active energy. Try to stay still, present, and calm. Couple more breaths. So you might need a little help to get the legs back up the wall, maybe a little assistance. I often with this one, soften my knees and keep them bent for a few breaths here. Right, we always want to take time for this sort of echo after these yin poses, so sort of the wisdom of how the body holds on and lets go. And to come into our next pose, we're going to move a little further from the wall. Think maybe 6 inches, give or take. So you can just sort of inch your way away from the wall. And this one's called wall frog. So we do this one often facing the earth. This way I find a little more accessible, but actually I find this to be a deeper stretch. So again, the legs come wide. This time the knees are bent and the heels are sort of in line with the knees, and then you let the toes turn out a little or a lot. And you want this sense of sort of opening and stretch along the inner leg. You know, a lot of times the deepest stretch will come with the hips in line with the knees, but that's not necessarily right for everybody. So, you know, notice first of all how deep the stretch you're getting is. And second of all, you know, if the depth of the stretch is what you need. Right? Sometimes less actually makes more sense. Right? Sometimes a little more. You know, again, now an opportunity to find something for the shoulders and neck here. Maybe coming back into a cactus in the arms. Right? Maybe something a little more spacious or relaxed. Right? Body softens into this shape. Mind softens into the experience. Right. Breath offers up space to land and be present and arrive. Notice if you're holding any tension or activity or engaging any muscles in the hips, the groin, maybe the glutes, the inner thighs. Right? Lots of that happens without us even noticing. And keep in mind, if we're here for another couple minutes, if this isn't the shape that works for you, you know, alter or change the shape any way you need to here. Right? You can always bring the bottom of the feet together with the knees and the backs of the legs moving towards the wall, more like a butterfly pose. So it would look more like this. But that's also a nice stretch, and it might make more sense in your body here. So. And remembering also that a place with no stretch is also an absolutely perfect place to be if you're being still, right? And finding a sense of presence and breath. Another minute here still. last half minute here, maybe noticing it makes sense to deepen and extend the breath. Couple more breaths. And then using maybe the hands to help bring the legs together here. Right, finding somewhere to relax. You know, hopefully somewhere fairly still, an easy place for the body to let go. And noticing how you feel. Maybe noticing also the quality of the mind. Right? Has anything shifted since you first got onto your mat? And we'll come into our last couple poses supported by the wall. So the feet are going to come down in line with the knees. It probably makes sense to move a little further from the wall and to think about having your hips under your knees here. We'll start with the right foot. So it comes to the left knee or the left thigh. My low back and hips are comfortably on the earth. So if you notice they're lifted in the air, it means you're too close to the wall here. Okay. If you're not getting a deep enough stretch from here, you can inch closer to the wall, but I encourage you to trust, you know, that if we're here for a few minutes, you might be getting more of a stretch than you think. Right? If you want for 3, 4, 5 breaths to activate this stretch, you just energetically press the right knee and the back of the right thigh towards the wall here. You might flex the right foot a little bit. You could even press up onto the ball of the left foot to even deepen that stretch, as long as it doesn't lift the hips and low back off the earth. Yeah, but keeping in mind our yin poses, all of the benefits come through surrender. Right? So if there has been a few active breaths here, at some point, you let the left foot come back to the wall, and now you relax. And we'll just take a few minutes here. Right, make sure you're not holding tension, again, in the head, neck, or shoulders. Now that you've been here for a little while, you know, doing that quick scan of the body, looking for anywhere you're holding tension, effort, or energy here. Right, and what is the work for the mind? Right, to be allowed to wander along, or to find a focused point, right, somewhere to remain centered and calm. Another half a minute here. You might deepen the breath, and you might choose, and like we did in some of the other poses, to activate here just like what we did at the beginning. So, again, maybe pressing that right knee energetically towards the wall. Right? Be honest here with what you need versus the sense of ambition or expectation. And then slowly over the next couple breaths, releasing that right foot back to the wall. Taking a few breaths here to let go of that pose. Maybe to notice, right, how the body feels afterward. And then we'll do the second side. So you might notice with this side, it might make sense to get closer or further from the wall, depending on how this hip is compared with the right hip. Right, again, once you're set, right, maybe 4, 5, 6 breaths with a little more energy, maybe not so much. Right, so that left knee might be pressing towards the wall. You might come up on the ball of the right foot to build a little more fold towards the thighs. But very quickly the pose evolves into this place where you can let go. And noticing what you need in the neck, in the shoulders, face relaxed here. That softness around the eyes, the space between the eyebrows, down into the cheeks and the jaw. Right, gravity sort of drawing you more fully towards the earth here to be caught and carried and cradled. And notice if you're reaching for the experience of the first side. See if you can just remain here with what's ever unfolding, right? Perfect as it is. And about half a minute here still, so staying just as you are, or maybe noticing it makes sense to either deepen the breath, deepen the stretch, or maybe both show up here for you. Just a few more breaths. And then slowly releasing out of that side. And now moving a little more fully away from the wall, we'll come into our next couple poses here. So you're going to hug the right knee in towards the heart. Just take a breath or two here. So we're going to move into a twist. I'm actually going to shift my hips towards the right, probably about 3 inches. And it's just going to make space in the low back. So for those of us who don't always have a lot of mobility in the low back, that just helps. And then both legs are going to fall towards the left. So the thing you can do with this twist, there's lots of options here. The left leg can stay bent. You can straighten that left leg. I'm actually going to draw my left leg a little higher so that I can stack my thighs and knees pretty close. If you have pillows or something you want to use under or even between the knees here, you can. Right? Any shape in the arms. To extend the stretch into the neck, you just actually take the gaze away from the twist, so towards the right hand, but make sure that it feels okay. And in a couple big breaths to really light up where in the body your twist happens to be landing. And the exhales looking to relax and release those places here. Right? You really want that right shoulder sinking towards the earth. If it's not connected with the ground, you could take a blanket or a pillow under there. But you really want to be able to release into the twist, right? And over time, the obliques, muscles around the low back and abdomen all start to sort of lengthen and get a nice deep stretch here. Right, especially here, notice if the body is holding on or gripping anywhere, right? Is it something that's meant to be relaxed into, or are you actually in a place maybe or a shape that doesn't quite make sense for you to find surrender? And about a minute here still. Right, body poured into this shape. Right, find any way you can here for this last little while to relax and relent. Breath stays soft and steady, or you deepen it this last half a minute. And then slowly, mindfully making your way back to center. Okay, making sure to reset the hips. Take a couple breaths. You can always take the feet wide, knees dropped in together. And then second side of the twist, you can start with the left knee in towards the heart. Couple breaths here. Right, might make sense now to shift to the hips to the left, 2-3 inches. And when you're ready, letting the legs drop to the right. Right? Any shape you want to take here in the legs, you could straighten the right leg, right? You can twist tie the legs. I'm going to move my right knee closer towards my right elbow so that I could bring the legs close. Right? You could use a pillow between the knees or even under, which might make this more accessible. Right? Taking care of the neck and the shoulders here. We have a few minutes here. Right? Whole body softening into this shape, this pose, this moment. Left shoulder relaxing towards the earth. Right? Trying not to do work anywhere here in the body. minute here still to relax fully into this pose. As this last half a minute unfolds, or maybe shifting, changing the breath. Slowly drawing the body back to center when you're ready here. Moving just a little bit further away from the wall. Legs will go long and arms can come along the ground overhead. And just like a full body stretch, it doesn't need to be super powerful. Nice big breath in to lengthen. And then relax. Yeah, 2 more times. Big breath, lengthen and reach. And then relax. 1 more breath, lengthen, reach. And then relax. And then now shorten the body, so coming the other way. You can stack the knees over the hips, or you might even hug the knees in towards the heart. Right? Sometimes after moving through the back body, I'll even stack my knees over my hips. Press on the thighs as I'm trying to draw the thighs towards the stomach, just to sort of anchor my low back and reset. Right? There isn't really a right or wrong, but try to make slow, mindful choices here. And then moving into our last shape of Shavasana. So you could take the legs long, arms wide, palms turned to the sky. You could choose to come back to the wall for legs up the wall where we began. You want to take a moment or a minute here to scan the whole body, making sure that you're completely relaxed into this place, right? No muscles trying to participate. Right? It is important to take this last pause to give the body a chance, right, in a sort of symmetrical and still place to integrate. Right? Let go of the breath. And see if you can let the mind dissolve into sensation. And give the body a chance to sort of sort through what it wants to keep and what it wants to leave behind. I encourage you to stay in this place, for a few minutes, maybe more, and allow yourself to indulge and delight in the stillness and the settling down. And only when you're ready do you start moving slowly, carefully back into the waking world. And move on with the rest of your day or your evening. As always, thank you for joining me.